Jackson, when he signed the contract in 1991 for his personal catalog, he was under the assumption or the understanding, based on what his lawyers told him, that he would get his masters back in 1999. Michael Jackson thought he was going to get his masters back in 1999. He finds out around 1999, Art, that he not getting his masters back until 2009, the year he died.
Hell no.
Are you following me on this, Art? Yeah. Let me say that one more time. Let me say this one more time. Michael Jackson thought he was going to get his masters back in 1999. His lawyers played him. He finds out in 1999 he's not getting his master recordings back until 2009, the year he died. I think you know where I'm going with this. I think you know where I'm going with this. So now, Art, Tommy Mottola tells Michael Jackson, if you don't extend your contract, we're not going to finance Invincible. Michael Jackson said, I'm not signing no contract extension with you devils. I want out. So they sabotaged Invincible, Art, to put him in debt. Why did they want Michael Jackson in debt? To try to force him to sell his personal catalog and the joint ATV catalog market. Sony Records was bankrupting Michael Jackson to try to force him to turn over all of his music. They signed with him to destroy him and take his music. Same thing Warner Brothers did with Prince, allegedly, that led to his premature execution. Stay with me, Art. So 2001, Invincible comes out. It goes several times platinum, but that's the flop for Michael Jackson, right? So the next year, Michael Jackson has a protest in New York City with Al Sharpton, and he calls Tommy Mottola, the head of Sony Records, a devil and a racist. You remember that, don't you? He called him a devil and a racist, and he said that he called Irv Gotti, rest in peace to Irv, Murder Inc. He said he called Irv Gotti a fat ninja. Now, Art, the year after Michael Jackson has that protest against Sony Records in New York, where he calls Tommy Mottola a racist and a devil. That was 2002, July. Guess what, Art? The next year he's arrested for child sex molestation. You're not going to tell me that's a coincidence. Right after the protest, the next year, he's arrested for child molestation. Right after Diddy settles with Diageo Liquor, Diddy is arrested on federal. You see how this works?
Every time.
Same thing they did to Michael Jackson, they did it to Diddy. Stay with me, Art. So Michael Jackson is arrested in 2003. In 2004, Eminem,
he made the move,
the white Jesus of hip hop, Eminem attacks Michael Jackson. He comes out with a song called Just Lose It, 2004. He's mocking Michael Jackson's surgery. He's mocking Michael Jackson's child sex abuse charges. And he's even mocking Michael Jackson's hair being burned during that Pepsi commercial. I'm sure you remember that. Now, in 2007, Art, I don't know if this was in retaliation for what Eminem did to him or not, but in 2007, Sony ATV, which is Sony and Michael Jackson, they purchase, Art, the Famous Music LLC catalog. Guess what this gives them, Art? 125,000 songs. 125,000 songs, including who? Eminem's entire back catalog, all the way up until his 2004 Encore album. Michael Jackson and Sony owns the publishing of all of Eminem's records up until that time. Basically, you make a mockery of me, I'll buy out your catalog. That's how Michael Jackson paid back Eminem. Now let me back up, Art. Let me back up. And then I'm going to come back to the last years of Michael Jackson's life. Better yet, let me stay there for a minute. Let me stay there. So 2003, he gets arrested. 2004, he's attacked by Eminem. 2005, the trial begins, Art. February 2005, Black History Month. I'm getting ready to go to Africa for the first time as Minister of Education for the Marcus Garvey movement. I'll never forget it. Michael Jackson is acquitted of all 10 counts on June 13th, 2005, Art. He's acquitted of all counts. Within months of being acquitted, guess what? The little boy's mother is charged with fraud and perjury for lying on Michael Jackson during the trial. She settles with a plea deal. 2006, the Guinness Book of Real Records, Art, they put Michael Jackson in the Guinness Book again for the greatest entertainer of all time. 2007, he buys Eminem's music as part of a 125,000 song Famous Music LLC catalog. 2008, Art, 25th anniversary of the Thriller album. When Thriller comes out for the 25th anniversary in 2008, Art, it goes #1 in 8 countries. And it's #2 in the United States. So Michael Jackson realizes he's still the biggest musician in the world. Remember, Art, he's trying to get out of his contract with Sony. He will not extend the rights with Sony. After he gets acquitted from the charges, Art, he moves to the Middle East, Bahrain, whatever they call it. At the invitation of a king over there, Michael goes to the Middle East with his children. He visits his brother Jermaine Jackson, who's living in Dubai at the time. Michael Jackson, realizing with the 25th anniversary Thriller album, Art, he can make enough money to pay off his debts with Sony, get his catalog, start his own music company, take over the world. He initially agrees to 10 concerts, or 10 of them. But because of the demand, the concert promoters asked Mike to do a 50-city tour. Michael Jackson says, I'm gonna do it. This is gonna be my last tour, and I'm gonna call it This Is It. He moves to Las Vegas. He's living in Las Vegas, 2007, 2008, Art. He's living in Las Vegas. He starts preparing for the tour. Because in his mind, Art, I get my masters back when, Art? The end of 2009. Sony Records has to give me my master recordings back. 2009, my Thriller album is out. I'm back on top of the world. I'm gonna do these 50 stops on this tour, make all this money, pay off my debt, get out of Sony, and start a whole company under my own name. You with me, Art? He makes a mistake, Art. He decides to move back to LA so he can practice at the Staples Center. The reason he wants to practice at the Staples Center, Art, is the Staples Center has all of the technical amenities that Michael Jackson needs in order to fully practice his tour. Because as you know, he's very elaborate with the special effects, the stunts, the dress rehearsals, and he's a Virgo. He's a Black August baby. August 29th, Mike is a perfectionist. So he says, we got to do the Staples Center because I can do it right at the Staples Center. Now check this out, Art. The tour was supposed to begin March of 09. Michael Jackson pushes the tour back. This was fatal, Art. This was fatal. Michael Jackson pushes the tour back from March of 2009 to July 13th of 2009. See that? So he's going to hang around in Los Angeles a few months too long. Or if he gets on that tour, they can't get to him. If he gets on that tour or in March, they can't get to him. But when he decided to push the tour back so he could practice and perfect the stage performances, That gave a certain music company enough time to plan Michael Jackson's demise. And on June the 25th, 2009, Art, exactly 2 weeks and 4 days before the first concert.
It makes sense.
2 weeks and 4 days before the first concert, a black doctor helped him overdose on Provolol, I believe it is, and Michael Jackson was unalive. Art, are you going to tell me it's a coincidence that Michael Jackson dies 2 weeks before the first concert? He dies a few months before Sony was due to return his masters.
No one knew was going on.
Look how convenient this is, Art. Look how convenient. You die right before you're supposed to get your master recordings back for the #1 selling album in world history. Now, let me go back for a minute, Art. Let me go back to 1993. When did Mike, he bought the ATV music catalog, the Beatles and the Elvis, Bruce Springsteen, Rolling Stones, Little Richard. He bought that 4,000 song ATV catalog in 1985. He signs his 15-year deal with Sony in 1991, right? He puts in a bid for Marvel Comics in 1993, Art. When does Michael Jackson get his first child abuse accusation? 1993, right after he puts in a bid to own Marvel Comics, Art. Look at this. Michael Jackson was playing to be the king, bro. Michael Jackson, as much as he loved white people and kids, and I'll never understand that, because they all turned on him, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But as much as Michael Jackson loved white people and white kids, Art, he was the Malcolm X of the music business. Michael Joseph Jackson was the Malcolm X of the music. Look at this, Art. I got the #1 album. I'm going to buy a 4,000 song catalog that gives me the publishing rights to the Beatles, Elvis, Rolling Stones, and Bruce Springsteen. Look at this, Art. And then I'm going to turn around, sign a contract with Sony that's going to turn into a billionaire. And then I'm going to buy Marvel Comics.
Did you win? Let's just say the next round of omelets is on me, fellas.
Talk to some young
Bet $10, get $200 in bonus bets.
They just, people would
Lost
just
your
be
card?
like,
Again? Studies show you're not alone.
That's right.
We have lost
a lot
fraud.
of motherfuckers just be thinking motherfuckers lie just
TLDR. With the Cash App card.
bro, like it be
Art, when he bought that 4,000 song catalog in 85, and when he put the bid in for Marvel Comics in 93, that's when the white power structure said, I think they might have decided right then, Art, if we can't control him, we're going to unalive him. If we can't control him, they never had a black artist, Art. Sam Cooke owned his own music. Sam Cooke had his own record label. But Sam Cooke didn't have the #1 selling album in human history. Sam Cooke didn't buy a 4,000 album catalog. Michael Joseph Jackson was moving like the Malcolm X of the music industry, Art. So he gets accused of child sex abuse in 93, 13-year-old boy. He settles out of court for $22 million. He gets accused again in 1996, Art, while he's still trying to get Marvel Comics. And then Art, the 2003 accusation comes right after he criticizes Sony Records. I believe, Art, allegedly, this is all alleged, I believe Sony Records paid those people to accuse Michael Jackson of those crimes, Art, so he could go to jail, so they can bankrupt him through prison fees and bankrupt him through debt, like they did Bill Cosby, Art, like they're trying to do Sean Combs. We're gonna bankrupt Michael Jackson and make him sell us the catalog. And you know what's so sad about this whole thing, Art? Guess who bought out the catalog from the Jackson estate after they murdered, after they allegedly unalived Michael Jackson? Guess who owns the music now?
Who's that?
Sony Records. What did his mother say, Art? Queen Mother Catherine Jackson. She did an interview with Dateline in 2010, Art. And Catherine Jackson said that Michael Jackson used to call her and say, "Mom, they want to take my life." She said he kept telling me over and over that they want to take my life for what I know. And I think, Art, he's talking about his knowledge and mastery of the music business. And Catherine Jackson said that her son, Michael Jackson, told her, "Keep an eye out on my catalog." He said, "Some very evil, greedy men want my catalog, Art." His mother said she told him this. "Some very evil, greedy men want my catalog." Art, it is a shame what they did to Michael Jackson. Now let's go post-death. Let's go post-death and we're going to end. After Michael Jackson dies in 2009, on November the 11th of 2011, or 11/11/11, Conrad, the doctor, Conrad Murray. This is the same day I go to Nat Turner Land for the first time. This is my first visit to the Nat Turner War Trail. 11/11/11, Conrad Murray is found guilty of involuntary manslaughter. He does about 5 years in prison. In 2013, Art, Wade Robson and James Safechuck accused Michael Jackson of molesting them for approximately 7 years, with most of the molestation coming between 1988 and 1992. What's wrong with this allegation, Art? Not only did they wait until he passed, but they defended Michael Jackson at his 2005 trial, Art. They defended him and said he was innocent. They defended Michael Jackson against the boy. And after Michael Jackson dies, they come out and say he molested us. Money grab. Straight up money grab. Art, you mean to tell me you get molested between 1988 and 1992? And you wait until 02, you wait 22 years to tell anybody. 22 years to tell anybody. And conveniently, Michael Jackson is dead. But guess what happens, Art? The judge throws it out. In 2015, the judge throws it out. But guess what happens then? HBO, Art, decides to do a documentary on these two white boys, Robson and Safechuck, called Leaving Neverland. And guess who does the promo interview with these two liars? None other than Oprah Winfrey, the richest woman in the history of North America. Can you tell me why Oprah Winfrey would stab Michael Jackson in the back in his death, Art? In his death. She interviews these two liars on her show, promoting the HBO documentary. And guess what happens after the documentary comes out in 2019, Art? In 2020, the courts changed the law, and they say if you was a victim of child sex abuse, we're now going to allow you to bring that old suit back to court. Same thing they did with Puffy, same thing they did with R. Kelly, same thing they did with Bill Cosby. Look at the repetition, Art, the same playbook. The court changed the law, so Safechuck and Robson, who I allege are liars, Because how you going to say the man innocent, then he guilty 22 years later? So they bring the court case back after leaving Netherlands. California passes a law reviving the old child sex abuse claims. And in August of 2023, the appeals court ruled that they can proceed with their case against MJJ Productions and MJJ Ventures, claiming that Michael Jackson's companies should have protected them from the child sex allegations. Art, how you going to prove child sex allegations in 2026 and it happened in 1992? 02, 12, 22. Art, that's 35 years later, Art. How you going to prove Michael Jackson molested you from 1988 to 1992, 35 years later in 2026, Art? Look at this crap. That lawsuit is in the courts right now, Art. That lawsuit is in the courts right now. So I'm saying all that to say that I think it's a shame that all the white people Michael Jackson trusted and all the white kids Michael Jackson trusted are now suing him and trying to get rich off of him in his death. I think it is a damn shame. And that family, what's the family name, Art? The four siblings? Casio, I think it is. They originally defended Michael Jackson too, Art. They said he was innocent, and then they came back after he died and said they got molested. So Michael Jackson estate gave them what, 15 to 16 million dollars allegedly? And guess what they said, Art? It wasn't enough money. They signed it under duress, and they want more money. Everybody Michael Jackson helped is trying to rob him in his death. I hope that part 2 of that Michael movie does him justice. I hope our good brother Antoine Fuqua does Michael Jackson justice, because if they're going to slander that man's name, Art, then there's no need to do the documentary.
If you're seeing this, Prospect's available in your state.
Motorcycle lights, some shit was yellow. Right as this shit here.
So Cheryl Underwood spoke to TMZ yesterday because there's been a big conversation about some of the jokes that were thrown her way about her husband's passing, his suicide, and then also some of the words that were used on stage. The Rock using the R word, and specifically.
True roast comedy is not for mainstream domain. You're talking about Netflix, and I know people don't agree, but what I thought was good about what The Rock did, everybody was questioning his blackness, and he really made the connection. It's a way for us to talk about the issues with humor and come to some common ground. Years ago, you couldn't say M word for little people, couldn't say R word for the disabled. Sometimes politically correctness does not fit in comedy.
I didn't listen to the Rock speech and say to myself, you know what, that makes me think he's more black. I listened to the Rock speech and I thought to myself, hey, that's the Rock. Y'all must not remember how wild WWE used to be.
I said that. I didn't watch a lot of WWE.
That was the Rock. The Rock, that's how the Rock, that's the Rock I know.
Yeah. And I don't know why a lot of people was mad at, well, I do know why a lot of people were mad at Cheryl Underwood's like back-to-back jokes about her husband, but she approved all of that. Like like Shane and all of them, like they asked her if it was okay for them to do those jokes, and they had been testing them out the whole week. You know what I mean? So I do think Tony Hinchcliffe, although his issue was racist, it was funny to me. Like if you make something funny, it don't matter how offending it is. Like if it's funny, it is comedy. It works.
Let's take a listen to the Tony Hinchcliffe joke that he did on the stage that got people upset. Let's take a listen.
He got into a fist fight on a private plane. Proof that no matter how much money black people have, they're still just gonna act like ninjas. This fight. Like Bill Cosby, Hart is a black comedian from Philadelphia, and like Bill Cosby, women don't know when Kevin is inside of them. You've done good though, Kevin. The black community is so proud of you right now. George Floyd is looking up at us all, laughing so hard that he can't breathe.
I didn't think that was funny.
Yeah, I personally, and this is my personal opinion, I think jokes about people dying, violent, tragic deaths should be off limits. Like George Floyd died at the hands of the police because of systemic racism. I don't see it funny.
Yeah, I didn't see funny in that.
Yeah, no, he was going and he never came up for air. I thought he was funny until the last two. Now those jokes, like, whole room quiet. I don't know if they edited laughs in there, but the whole room was quiet.
People were uncomfortable?
Man, what? Everybody, white people, black people, everybody, like, was very uncomfortable. Like,
there's no funny. Like, George Floyd died at the hands of the police. Like, he died a violent, tragic death. Like, there's no humor in it.
Well, Travis Keynes, he's a spokesperson for the Gianna and George Floyd Foundation. Gianna is George Floyd's daughter. Spoke to TMZ, and he said that the joke was sad for the culture. They said that George Floyd's friends and families feel like Kevin Hart should have told Tony to stay off the topic if nothing else, and they were baffled and disgusted by Tony's obsession, they call it, with telling George Floyd jokes.
I also don't think they should be joked on because they have nothing to do with the roast.
Nothing at all.
Like, like the Cheryl Underwood, they're making jokes about her husband committing suicide. I wouldn't do that either, but she's there, right? Pete Davidson's father who died in 9/11, I wouldn't joke about that, but he's there, okay? But what does George Floyd have to do with it?
And they also mentioned too that Gianna gets bullied in school, which is George Floyd's daughter, and that things like the roast that are like it's such a big platform, it just doesn't help anything. And that they say that Tony should take a second to just think about the real life implications that these jokes can have on people who didn't ask to be a part of the conversation.
Obviously, he doesn't care enough.
Does not care.
Yeah,
he seems like a racist prick. I just thought it was that nasty, disgusting.
Well, I think you make jokes about those things. You just have to deal with the consequences of those jokes.
Kevin Hart spoke out yesterday amidst all the backlash and just honestly being thankful. Let's take a listen.
That, my friend, is what the roast is supposed to be. It's goddamn hard-hitting, relentless jokes with no consequence. Shouts out to every comedian that came on that stage. They all understood the assignment, man. There's no emotions attached to a roast. You tell your jokes and we understand that they're gonna come with some heat. It's all in the efforts of being funny. It's that simple. I love y'all.
I love funny, but you always gonna have to deal with the consequences of your words. I keep telling y'all over and over, free speech is not free.
All I know, Lamar Odom was not happy with all the crack. Every time a nigga said crack, his jaw clenched and he even got up and he left. He left the bitch he was at the table with.
What was the crack joke?
Who was on stage when he left?
Everybody was talking about Kevin Hart's father being on crack. I mean, just everybody.
What if Lamar hears this and say, I just had somewhere to go, Jess?
No, absolutely not. He ain't like that. He did not like it. And I don't know how I was ever canceled after sitting in that room.
It's Norman Rosa telling you to beware of the dog. That's right, top dog law. Car accident, slip and fall, or even a worksite injury. You make the call. Y'all better call the dog. No legal talk, no red tape, just one call and they handle the rest. They only get you paid if you win. No out-of-pocket fees, no net cost, and no catch. Bills don't wait, and neither does my boy Top Dog Law. They act fast, right when you need it. Now don't wait. Call Top Dog Law for a free case review. Call now or check them out on Instagram at Top Dog Law. Y'all can also hit them up at topdoglaw.com. Any accident, big or small, you make the call. Y'all, call Top Dog Law. That's Top Dog Law.
Every day I wake your ass up. The Breakfast Club.
Y'all finished or y'all done? What's the best way to build credit in 2026? Many people out there feel stressed about their finances, especially when it comes to their credit score. Luckily, there's Self's Credit Builder account. Make a plan to fix your budget, make on-time monthly payments, and unlock your savings at the end. Lift your credit score.
Look at this.
Back to these HBCUs, they would be in a much better position than what they're in. Did not exist in Africa at that time. Prove it. What is your sauce?
I can't do it right now. I'm not.
Well, when you get time, I'm gonna come back and prove it.
I'm gonna send it to you.
Cite your sauce.
Look, when I send it to you, I want you to make a Look, I'm gonna make you a cameo. I want you to get a cameo. I'll say my brother Ish, he cracked my muffin, man. He proved it to you.
You gotta cite your stories.
That's all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna send you the.
They argue about, man, some moose out
Yo, he's a capitalist.
Holy shit.
He's a capitalist, bro.
No, he wasn't.
But why? I didn't really need to say why. I don't know none of this.
Capitalism isn't even consistent with traditional African rulership. It's not even consistent with it. It's not even. African culture is communalistic.
Let me ask you a question.
African culture is communalistic.
Are Egyptians black in your opinion?
Are you talking ancient?
Yes.
Or modern Arabs?
No, ancient.
What about it? Were they capitalists?
Were they black?
Of course they were African.
They were African.
Yes.
We're in agreement.
Yes.
They leech off of the slave population.
That is not true at all. You've been listening to too much.
No, I have not.
Religious.
You're reading them white books.
I might not be as well read as you because this is your job.
Show me the proof.
All right. This is easy.
Yo, can we pivot to something? Because I wanted to pivot because we did this for a while, but I just finished seeing you have a conversation with another podcast. I'm not gonna say it, but you had a conversation about Deion Sanders.
Yes, sir.
And the back and forth was.
Yeah, you gotta stop that shit.
No. The back and forth was great.
I love you.
I agree with everything you're saying in respects of his.
Imani, help us. What gives us the context?
So the conversation was based upon Deion Sanders' move from Jackson State
to Colorado.
to an HBCU to Colorado. And what it meant, and the statement of everyone saying, he's doing the job for us and he's pushing us forward, and the pushback is no, it's really for self. It doesn't help blacks in any way.
It does.
I totally agree. I think it was a selfish move. I think it was a move to kind of stand in the side of white folks.
I said that.
Absolutely.
And the history that probably it makes for him, but if he does that same thing at an HBCU like Jackson State, gets them to where they need to get to, you make a bigger statement doing it with home team.
No, and more people will follow the leader. It's a macro versus a micro thing, and I think at Jackson State he was making change.
Yes.
He was getting a lot of things done. He was bringing the economic base to their school and to the surrounding
and top recruits
and to the surrounding communities.
Yes.
One, you're gonna set the stage, so you'll be the sacrificial lamb because I heard some shit was going wrong inside the institution. Cool, right? I think that was his justification to leave. I love
that was an excuse to leave.
Yeah, justification. Yeah, I think that was.
But what was the excuse?
There was some things going on in the institution.
They broke into his office. They broke into his car.
No, the dean was doing dumb shit.
The university wasn't paying them. He's supposed to get a certain percentage of the ticket sales and all that other crap.
You didn't believe any of that?
No, I do.
No, it may be very